Available now from Arrow Home Video on Blu-ray is from 1970, The Brotherhood of Satan. This is a film that I had never seen until a few years ago. I'd borrowed a DVD from somebody. So this has been released previously on video, but if you've seen me talk about Arrow stuff before, you know the Arrow video version is the one that bests all others. So it's Arrow stuff looks brilliant, and they load them with extras, and this is no exception. Brotherhood of Satan, as it says in the Arrow press release that I was just looking at, it's the missing link between It's a long length. It's the missing link between Rosemary's Baby and Devil's Reign, and that's exactly what this movie feels like. So this is a weird, freaky mind bender of a movie, which is even more successful to me because it has the trappings of it. It almost looks like period TV. It almost looks like 1970 TV. The way it's shot, it's very workmanlike for the most part. A lot of character actors you would recognize from old TV shows and movies, studio stuff, and it's very cleanly made. But then it gets weird, and you're sort of lulled into this sense of safety by. It's about Satanists, but it kind of looks like an old sitcom or an old hour-long episode of Peyton Place or something. And then something really weird and nasty happens, and you're like, whoa, I was not expecting that. So basically the story of this film is that young couple, man and woman, one or two kids, I don't remember, drives through this little small southwestern town, California town. Car breaks down, and they are basically having a very hard time to leave. The people in the town are like, how did you get here? How did anybody get in here? Basically, the town is being controlled by Satan worshipers who are townsfolk. It's townsfolk. It's mostly elderly, seemingly townsfolk, who are trying to capture young people and basically through rituals and things remain young. To some degree, they want to be young again through devilish means, and it's funny, kind of, for me to see people who were sitcom extras, sitcom character actors back in the '60s in this film. Some familiar faces. Speaking of sitcoms, one of the actors in it, also co-produced by Alvy Moore, who played Mr. Kimball on Green Acres. Well, maybe he didn't play Mr. Kimball on Green Acres. Maybe he played Hank Kimball. Well, maybe not Hank Kimball. Maybe he was the cat. Anyway, it doesn't matter. He played Mr. Kimball on Green Acres, and L.Q. Jones, who you'd recognize. I guess he was an extra in a lot of Peckinpah movies, and he went on to do producing and directing. This was a film they made together. They previously had done a film called The Witchmaker, which I remember seeing on. It was either Commander USA's Groovy Movies. It might have even been before that on USA Network when they would just show old horror movies on Saturday afternoons, which was another film set sort of like in the South or in the Bayou or out in the country somewhere where there was witchcraft going on. And it's funny, at one point people are in a police station. I think it might be a jail cell or somewhere in a police station where there's some graffiti, and somebody actually, you see that scrawled on the wall, scratched into the wall, is The Witchmaker. So they were kind of like calling back or advertising their previous film from only a year or so earlier in this, The Brotherhood of Satan. Strother Martin is in this. He's great. He plays the town doctor. It's a really, really good movie. This is one of those movies where I watch it and it's like a punch in the head. It's like, why does nobody talk about this? This is really good. It very much feels like it was influenced by or the same vibe of Rosemary's Baby. And again, I hate to just riff off what somebody else said, but all I'm watching this thinking of is Rosemary's Baby and The Devil's Reign, two really solid films. If you haven't seen The Devil's Reign, that's really good too. Very, very similar vibe. But Brotherhood of Satan, really good, really creepy, kind of a disturbing ending, but again, 1970, so it still pretty much feels like the 60s. A lot of clean-cut looking people, the old cars, the old clothes. The transfer is fabulous on this. It looks amazing. And it's the story of this couple who are trying to figure out what's going on in this town and if they're ever going to get out alive. And it involves kids, and not in an unseemly way, just like in a way that makes it creepier. And I don't always find kids creepy in movies. I don't even find creepy kids creepy in most movies, but it really works here. And it's this mix of character actors and non-actors. And sometimes non-actors just make something rough to get through. But sometimes, like Easy Rider is one I always use an example of. They had a great mix in that film of, traveling the Southwest and peppering the scenes with people who weren't actors, and it just made it feel real. And that's what works in Brotherhood of Satan. Despite some of it looking like it's made for TV, using people who aren't actors in certain roles and using them well, it just sells the reality of this even more. So I really had a great time with this. Now there's a good number of extras, and I may have to glance off to my notes, pardon the side of my face, to be accurate about it. But there was a commentary with Kim Newman and Sean Hogan, which was really good, and it gets into the history of all the players in the film, the history of Satan films and the films that had influenced this. There's also a visual essay about that, the history of Satanism in films, that uses a lot of clips from a lot of other movies. There are trailers, TV and radio spots, and an image gallery. I really, really enjoyed The Brotherhood of Satan. It was one of those movies, the first time I saw it, I was like, wow, this is really good. Then kind of faded from memory a little bit, because it's a movie nobody talks about. And then I got this Blu-ray release, and I'm like, oh, cool, Brotherhood of Satan. And it hit me again, like, this is really good. It's a shame this is something that people don't remember more. I don't know why that is, but out now. Now you can figure it out. You can see for yourself. Maybe I'm full of it. Brotherhood of Satan, Arrow Films, on Blu-ray.